Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. On this video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I eat. So as you can see from the title, eat what makes you happy. I will not tell you how to eat. I will not tell you what dietary choices to make or not make, because I feel that like with anything, it's very personal. Like the diet that you choose to have and to maintain a healthy body weight is very personal. Everyone has likes and dislikes, and there's certain foods that I've cut out that I don't expect you to cut out. But again, do what makes you happy. I'll tell you what I do, and maybe you'd want to try it, because this is definitely not the way that I ate in the past. So as you know, I started December of 2017 on this journey, and my diet has not been the same from December all the way to now, which, we're in April of 2018. So I started off with, my protein choices as, eggs and lean cuts of meat and chicken and fish and even shrimp, and basically pretty much any animal on land, sea, and in the water. Or land, sea, whatever, every animal basically that was on my normal diet, like, chicken and meat and fish and shellfish and this, that, and the other I was having. And, obviously within limits and within, portions and all that, but I was still eating those things and eggs and things like that. But slowly I started cutting certain things out. I, completely cut out red meat, and then I started cutting out chicken for no other reason other than I started looking into different nutrition facts, and looking into the effects of different foods on the body and the effects of foods with chronic disease and things like that. So as I researched more into it and more into basically the negative effects of food on the body, and also like what foods produce a positive effect on the body and on the cells and everything that internally is functioning for us to function on a daily basis. So with the different research, I've also talked about this in previous videos. With the different things that I've learned, I slowly started on my own, of my own free will, giving up certain things. So I have, cut out, I think it was like the red meat was the easiest thing to cut out. And then chicken came after fish. I think fish was the last thing, or maybe fish and eggs were the last thing that I removed from my diet as well. I am happier since I've done that, because my digestion is just so much more improved. I cannot even tell you how different my body feels internally by making these choices. So I'm not going to say that my skin completely cleared up, because I still have some blemishes here and there, monthly, that hasn't gone away. But overall, I feel so much healthier, and I feel that my body is functioning so much better, and I'm just happier with this decision. So I'm so glad that it was not a forced decision, because I feel like if someone says you can't eat this and you can't eat that, and you just have to follow what I'm saying, and this is the piece of paper that you have to follow, I feel like that's a little bit harder to kind of follow, and you'll do it maybe reluctantly, but I think it's so much easier to explore and research and understand foods and the different effects that they have on your body. That way you can make an informed decision, and it won't be forced or something that you don't want to do. Because if we do anything that we don't want to do, I feel like eventually it just won't make any sense. So, and we won't want to continue doing it. So make the decisions that work for you to basically have sustained long-term, a sustained long-term nutritional plan. Not to say you have to eat the same thing every day, but kind of like figure out what works for you, what doesn't. I mean, some people eat pork, some people don't. Some people eat red meat, some people don't. Or eggs versus egg white, yolks versus egg whites, and there's so much information out there. One site, if you go on one site, it might tell you that red meat is good for you, and Another site might tell you it's bad for you and this, that, and the other, but you have to establish what's good or bad for you. And of course, speak with your doctor if they are on, well educated as far as nutrition goes, because doctors are well educated, obviously, in the field that they're in and with the diseases that they treat, but maybe not all have looked into nutrition at length and in depth. So look up things online, read different books. There's so many resources online nowadays that you can find information on pretty much anything. So look up things and understand why you're eating certain things and understand why you're not eating certain things, so that they're a little bit easier to do instead of just being told, because you're not a child anymore. And if you are a child, your parents, tell you what to eat or give you food based on what they believe is the best thing for you. But as you're older, you can make your own decisions with pretty much everything. We have the power of choice, so we can do good things for our body, or we can, harm our body. So, but the choice is yours. Make decisions that are good for you. And I'll tell you something. Back in, I think it was 2016, I was on one of my kicks to lose weight, and I was kind of trying to get into the flow of it. And it was about February. I think the first month, the January, I was kind of like, I was half-heartedly doing it and not really in the flow. But by February, I thought, you know what, let me try something different and let me go on a vegan diet. So I did. I attempted to go on a vegan diet in the month of February, and I think I lasted about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I had ended up gaining weight that month. That was in 2016. And looking back, the reason for that, it's not that a vegan diet makes you fat or a meat diet makes you fat or this, that, and the other. No, it's not to say that, but I did approach it the wrong way. I was eating processed food. So I was taking what I had cut out, chicken, fish, etc. And I was replacing them with the processed version, like the processed meatless version. So, there's those soy burgers and this, that, and the other, but there's so many processed options out there, and there's so many ways to be unhealthy even as a vegan. So not to say that someone on a vegan diet is healthy or not healthy, because you can be both healthy on a vegan diet and not healthy on a vegan diet. So what I choose to follow is a plant-based, it's a whole foods, plant-based diet. So basically what that means is you take the food in its most natural form and eat it that way. So I'm not a primarily raw vegetable eater or anything like that. I still enjoy salads and everything raw, but I still cook some vegetables, and I love cooking. So I don't think I would ever take the cooking aspect out of my nutrition, because I do enjoy cooking and creating recipes and experimenting with things. So I eat primarily, exactly like the title says, whole food, plant-based diet. So that would include different things: brown rice, lentils, beans, tofu, tempeh. I mean, anything you can think of pretty much. And their protein, I get enough protein, I get enough fat, because there's nuts and there's avocado and chia seeds and all this other stuff. And then of course the produce and the vegetables and produce are, that fruits and vegetables are just very abundant, luckily, here. And you can pretty much select from anything. So, if you don't like a specific vegetable or fruit, maybe try a different one. Don't give up on fruits and vegetables altogether. They're very important for your diet. And even if you're eating meat and chicken and fish and all that, it's still very important to incorporate greens into your diet and fruits and, all those things into your diet, because there's a lot of vitamins and minerals in those foods, and they're very important for you. So try to eat, whatever diet you are on, and I don't, specifically I don't judge anyone for the diet that they're on, and I don't pretty much want to explain myself everywhere I go what diet I'm on, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the diet. I am still kind of coming into my own with the diet and learning and, trying to test recipes, and there's certain foods that I make and I'm just, amazed at how delicious they turn out. And then others are kind of like, oh, I don't know if I would eat that again or buy that product again, but at least I tried it. So I'm a little open-minded when it comes to trying different foods and kind of experimenting. And maybe what's the worst that could happen if you don't like a food? You just don't buy it again, and or you can spit it out. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you don't like a specific thing. So find the diet that works for you, and whatever diet that you take on to try, kind of imagine that you're doing this diet for the rest of your life and see if it's something that you can do for the rest of your life. So when I was on that vegan diet in February of 2016, it was not sustainable for me because one, I was buying all these processed foods that are like triple the amount, so much more expensive, by the way. So let's say, for example, a vegan cream cheese or something like that, like any alternative to what I had just given up, like triple the cost. So all processed food naturally is just more money. And when you go into they always tell you like to circle the perimeter of a supermarket, because once you're in the aisles, it just starts getting expensive because those are processed foods. And so if you buy like produce and fruit in its natural form, I'm not saying you could always buy the cheapest stuff, like it's not always going to be the least expensive. Like some fruits are, marketed or sold as exotic, and they charge a little more in the supermarkets. But also shop around different, supermarkets. You're not bound to one. And also buy fruit and produce that's in season, which would make it a little bit more cost effective for you. Now, things like staple pantry items, brown rice, beans, and things like that, you could of course buy in bulk and have it. Or if you don't want to do the whole cooking you could still buy those like I'm not going to say anything. I would still microwave things. I'm not against microwaving. So I'll pop something in the microwave, or I'll get a bag of frozen vegetables or something that makes prep easier. So if something is made easier for you, then go ahead and do it. But please read your labels and read the ingredients in your food, because if you turn it around and there's like 20 ingredients in one thing, then most likely it's not really that healthy because there's so much going into that food. So a lot of those replacement meat products and replacement dairy products have a lot of ingredients and might not be the healthiest option, but if you are on a vegan diet or whatever, and you're not having dairy or meat, and you want that, as your treat or as something, then sure, have it. But it shouldn't really be part of your diet, because I'm living proof that I did that diet and I did gain weight on that diet. But of course, you could gain weight on any diet, because if you're eating more than your body needs, you're definitely gaining weight. So find the diet that works for you. Test out different foods. If you didn't like broccoli as a kid, maybe try it as an adult and you might like it. And also eat within the limits of your body and your caloric needs for the day. So if you eat, let's say, 2,000 calories a day, and then you eat 4,000 you're supposed to eat 2,000 calories a day, but you eat 4,000 calories worth of food, whatever that food item is, you are above your daily calories or above the limit of what your body needs. And if you're not burning that off with physical activity, then you are gaining weight, even if it's from the foods that are natural and the foods that are good for you. Because you could overeat anything. You could overeat, having too many nuts, because a handful of nuts might be a serving, or 40 pistachios or whatever it is. So if you eat an entire bag of pistachios or an entire bag of cashews, you are over your limit for fats for the day, and definitely over your calories. Now, another thing I'll say about processed foods real quick is I used to buy, this was before this diet, before this round, I'm like, round 800. But before this particular journey, I would buy snack foods, like sweet potato chips or root vegetable chips and things like that, because I tend to side on, crunchy, salty, savory snacks. That's my thing. And even with those foods, if you really think about it, so you turn it around and the serving says, I don't know, maybe 14 servings a bag or 7 servings a bag, whatever it may be. And at 200 calories a serving, Okay, so let's say you eat the whole bag, which is really not hard to do. So you open up a bag of sweet potato chips or whatever that root vegetable thing is that's, labeled as a vegetable, and you eat it. Let's say the whole bag is 1,000 calories. If you ate 1,000 calories worth of the actual fruit, like or the vegetable, like if I ate 1,000 calories of sweet potatoes in a sitting, or a root vegetable, parsnips, beets, whatever those chips are that they sell, there's no way that I could actually physically eat that in one sitting. It's just a lot more food and bulk to process because there's fiber in there and there's water content and there's a whole bunch of things in that whole food versus the processed food that's pretty much been eliminated of all those things that are good for you, and it's just like in the form of a snack now. So I hope that kind of breaks it down, and that applies to pretty much anything. So like if you're having a whole fruit versus a juice, so you're taking the juice from it and not the whole fruit, so you're removing the fiber content. Or even a sorbet that has raspberry sorbet that has added sugar and all these other things in it. Not to say that you can't ever eat that. Sure, if it's part of your diet and it's part of a balanced diet, have it. But just understand that just because something's labeled as a fruit and vegetable in a product doesn't mean that it's healthy. So read your labels and educate yourself on nutrition and what works for your body, so that at the end of the week, if you're weighing yourself weekly, or if you're looking for specific goals, that the reason why your weight is up or down, and why maybe you're having a slower week than you did before. So be aware of foods and how they affect your body, and make good decisions. And the more you know, honestly, about nutrition, the easier it is to make the better decisions, because you just know what foods kind of set you back and what foods propel you forward into your goals and into your overall optimal health. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions about my specific diet or why I choose certain foods, please feel free to ask in the comment section below. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell. It gives you notifications on my videos, and feel free to share it with anybody that may be struggling with their weight, or even if they're not struggling with their weight and they're on another path or journey to bettering themselves. I think my videos and content would help them as well. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.